Okay, imagine this. You're watching your daughter play with paper dolls. She's giving them adult roles: teacher, astronaut, businesswoman, but all her actual dolls are babies. She has to pretend to be the mom, not the woman with dreams and careers. And you think, why? Why are we only giving girls baby dolls? What if we gave them a doll that showed them they could be anything? That simple observation changed the toy industry forever. Her name was Ruth Handler, and in 1959, she created Barbie, the most famous doll in history. But Barbie wasn't just a toy. She was revolutionary. For the first time, girls had a doll that wasn't a baby to nurture, but an adult woman with possibilities. Toy executives said it would never work. They said it was inappropriate. They said girls wouldn't want it. They were wrong. Barbie became a cultural phenomenon, selling over 1 billion dolls worldwide. And Ruth Handler proved that sometimes the best business ideas come from simply paying attention to what people actually need. Today, Lily and I are diving into Ruth Handler's story and brainstorming a business idea inspired by her vision that you can start today. This is Tallie Talks. Let's get this show started.
She's got a mind, she's got a spark, lighting up dreams from dawn to dark. Tallie Talks, yeah, she's the voice, asking the questions, making the choice. Young hustlers rising, stories to tell, big ideas where passions dwell. Pull up a chair, grab your seat, let's talk the hustle, let's feel the beat. Tallie Talks, yeah, Tallie Talks, turning whispers into walk, dreaming big, take the shot. This is the place where dreams get called. Tallie Talks, oh, Tallie Talks, Tallie Talks, ooh, yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Season 2 of Tallie Talks. I'm Tallie Pennyworth, and we are 8 episodes into this amazing season.
Last week, we talked about Steve Jobs, the man who got fired from his own company and came back to revolutionize computers, music, and phones.
And we learned that failure can be a reset button, and that vision matters more than technical skill. So Lily, welcome back.
Thanks, Tallie. I'm really excited about today's episode because Ruth Handler's story is so important, especially for understanding how toys shape the way kids see themselves.
Right? I never really thought about it, but the toys we play with do send messages about what's possible for us.
Absolutely. And Ruth Handler understood that before almost anyone else.
Okay, quick question before we dive in. Did you play with Barbies growing up?
I did. I had a whole collection. My favorite was Veterinarian Barbie because I wanted to be a vet when I was little.
That's so cute. I had Dr. Barbie and Astronaut Barbie. I loved that she could be anything.
And that's exactly what Ruth Handler wanted. She wanted girls to dream big.
Let's talk about how she made that happen.
So Ruth Handler was born in 1916 in Denver, Colorado. She was the youngest of 10 children in a Polish-Jewish immigrant family. Her parents ran a blacksmith shop and money was tight.
Wow, 10 kids, that's a big family.
It is. Ruth was ambitious from a young age. She moved to Los Angeles as a teenager to live with her sister and pursue bigger opportunities. She took business classes and worked as a secretary. That's where she met Elliot Handler, an artist and designer. They fell in love and got married in 1938.
So they were a team from the start.
Exactly. Elliot loved making things, furniture, crafts, art, and Ruth was the business mind. In 1945, they started a company called Mattel with their friend Harold Matson. Matt from Matson and Elle from Elliot, Mattel.
Oh, that's where the name comes from.
Yep. At first, they made picture frames, but Elliot started using the scrap wood to make dollhouse furniture, and it sold really well, so they pivoted to toys.
Smart. Use what you have.
Exactly. Mattel grew steadily, making toy instruments, music boxes, all kinds of things. But the big idea came from Ruth's daughter, Barbara, nicknamed Barbie.
Wait, Barbie was named after Ruth's daughter?
Yes. Ruth would watch Barbara play with paper dolls, and she noticed something interesting. Barbara wasn't playing house or pretending to be a mommy. She was giving these paper dolls adult roles: teacher, fashion designer, career woman. But all the actual dolls available were babies.
So there was a huge gap in the market.
Exactly, Ruth thought. Why are we only giving girls baby dolls? What if we gave them an adult doll, a teenage fashion model doll that they could project their dreams onto?
That's such a smart observation.
It was. So Ruth started sketching ideas for an adult-bodied doll. But when she pitched it to the men at Mattel, including her husband, they hated it.
Wait, why did they hate it?
They thought it was inappropriate. They said American parents would never buy a doll with an adult female body for their daughters. They said it was too mature, too weird. They rejected the idea completely.
That must have been so frustrating.
It was. But Ruth didn't give up. In 1956, she was on a trip to Switzerland with her family, and in a shop window, she saw a doll called Build Lily. It was an adult-bodied doll, originally marketed to men as a gag gift, but Ruth saw kids playing with it.
So she found proof that her idea could work.
Exactly. She bought several Lily dolls and brought them back to America. She showed them to the Mattel team and said, "Look, this exists and people like it. We can make an American version that's appropriate for children."
So she had a prototype to prove her concept.
Yes. And finally, the Mattel team agreed to try it. They spent years developing the doll, designing her face, her proportions, her clothes, her accessories. Ruth insisted on quality. She wanted the doll to have bendable knees, lots of fashion options, and different careers.
So Barbie was designed to have possibilities.
Exactly. And in 1959, Ruth introduced Barbie at the American Toy Fair in New York. She was wearing a black and white striped swimsuit, had a blonde ponytail, and came with multiple outfits you could buy separately.
So how did people react?
The toy buyers were skeptical. They didn't think it would sell, but Ruth believed in it. So Mattel ran TV commercials directly to kids, which was a revolutionary marketing strategy at the time.
So they went straight to the customers.
Exactly. And it worked. Within the first year, Mattel sold 300,000 Barbies.
Okay, so Barbie was a hit. What happened next?
Barbie exploded. Within a few years, millions of Barbies were being sold every year. Ruth kept innovating. She created different versions of Barbie: career Barbies, fashion Barbies, holiday Barbies. She added Ken, named after her son. Then she added Barbie's friends and family.
So she built an entire world around Barbie.
Exactly. And here's what was so powerful. Ruth made sure Barbie could be anything. There was astronaut Barbie, Dr. Barbie, teacher Barbie, President Barbie. Ruth wanted girls to see that women could have careers, dreams, and ambitions.
That's so important, especially in the 1960s when women's roles were really limited.
Exactly. Barbie was showing girls a different future, and it resonated. By the 1970s, Barbie was the best-selling doll in the world, and Mattel was one of the biggest toy companies.
So Ruth was incredibly successful.
She was. She became one of the most powerful women in business. But then, in the 1970s, Ruth faced a personal crisis. She was diagnosed with breast cancer and had to have a mastectomy.
Oh no.
It was devastating. But Ruth noticed something. After her surgery, she couldn't find a comfortable, realistic breast prosthesis. Everything available was uncomfortable or looked fake. So what did Ruth do?
Let me guess, she invented one?
Exactly. She created a company called Nearly Me and designed realistic, comfortable prostheses for breast cancer survivors. Once again, Ruth saw a problem and created a solution.
Wow, so she revolutionized two completely different industries.
She did. Ruth Handler passed away in 2002, but her legacy lives on. Barbie is still one of the most popular toys in the world. Over 1 billion Barbies have been sold in more than 150 countries. Point. And here's what I love most about Ruth's story. She understood that representation matters. Before Barbie, girls only had baby dolls. After Barbie, girls could imagine themselves as doctors, astronauts, business owners, anything.
So Barbie wasn't just a toy. She was a message about possibility.
Exactly. Now, Barbie has also been criticized over the years for unrealistic body proportions, lack of diversity, lots of things. And those are valid criticisms. But Mattel has tried to evolve. They now make Barbies with different body types, skin tones, and abilities.
So the core idea of you can be anything is still there, but they're making it more inclusive.
Right, and that's Ruth's legacy. She saw what girls needed before anyone else did, and she had the courage to create it even when everyone said it wouldn't work.
Quick reminder, if you're loving these stories about innovators who change the world, you need to check out Blueprints of Power, the podcast my co-host Lily does with Jack and Charlie. They explore the greatest empires in history and make it super fun and engaging. Did you know the Aztec Empire's capital city was built on a lake and had over 200,000 people? It was bigger than most European cities at the time. The entire first season is on YouTube right now. Go subscribe, watch every episode, and tell them Tallie sent you. That's Blueprints of Power on YouTube. You're going to love it. All right, we're back. Lily, what's the big lesson from Ruth Handler's story?
The lesson is pay attention to what people actually need, not just what they say they want. Ruth watched her daughter play and realized there was a gap in the market. She saw what girls needed before they could even articulate it.
So it's like the best business ideas often come from observation, not just asking people what they want.
Exactly. Steve Jobs said something similar. People don't know what they want until you show it to them. Ruth understood that. And here's the other lesson. Trust your instinct even when experts disagree. Everyone told Ruth that Barbie wouldn't work, but she believed in her vision and pushed forward anyway.
So don't let other people's doubts stop you.
Right. And one more thing. Representation matters. What you create can shape how people see themselves and their possibilities. Ruth understood that toys aren't just entertainment. They're tools for imagination and aspiration.
I love that. So, observe what people actually need. Trust your instinct even when others doubt you. And remember that what you create can shape how people see their own potential.
Perfect.
All right, time for the kid business brainstorm. What business can kids start inspired by Ruth Handler?
Okay, so Ruth was all about representation and creating products that help people see themselves and their possibilities, right?
Right. So what if kids started a custom representation products business?
Yes, I love this. Okay, so here's the idea. You create custom products that help people feel seen and represented. This could be custom dolls, action figures, book characters, art, clothing, anything that celebrates diversity and individuality.
Ooh, give me examples.
Okay, so maybe you create custom dolls using polymer clay or fabric. You make dolls that look like the customer, their skin tone, hair texture, abilities, cultural clothing. Kids who can't find dolls that look like them can commission one from you.
That's beautiful. Or you could create custom coloring books featuring diverse characters, kids with different abilities, different family structures, different cultures.
Yes. Or custom storybooks where the child is the main character. You write and illustrate short stories where they're the hero, and you include details about them, like their interests, their family, their dreams.
Oh, that's so cool. Or custom paper dolls with different careers and outfits, just like Ruth's daughter played with.
Exactly. Or you could design and sell t-shirts or tote bags with empowering messages or diverse characters, like future scientist with a picture of a girl in a wheelchair or future architect with a boy of color.
I love that. And here's what Ruth would love about this. You're creating products that expand what kids think is possible for themselves.
Exactly. You're saying, you belong here, you can be this, you matter. That's powerful.
So how would you start this business?
First, decide what type of representation products you want to make. Maybe you're great at drawing, so you create custom portraits or illustrations. Maybe you love crafting, so you make custom dolls or figures. Pick what you're good at.
Then you could create some sample products to show what you can do. Like, make a few diverse dolls or draw some inclusive characters to build your portfolio.
Yes, and then you market to your community. Parents, schools, libraries, community centers, they're all looking for inclusive, diverse products. You could even partner with teachers who want diverse books or materials for their classrooms.
And you could offer different price points, like a custom paper doll set for $15, a custom illustration for $30, a custom handmade doll for $60.
Perfect. And here's what's important. Listen to your customers. Ask them what representation they need. What's missing? What do their kids want to see? That's what Ruth did. She observed what was needed.
And you could have a mission statement like, every child deserves to see themselves as the hero. That makes your business about more than just making money. It's about making an impact.
Yes, and what would kids learn from this business? Empathy, cultural awareness, art or crafting skills, customer service, marketing, and the power of representation. Those are incredibly valuable skills.
Plus, you're literally changing how kids see themselves and their potential. That's huge.
And you could scale this. Maybe you start by making custom dolls yourself, but then you create kits that other people can buy and customize, or you license your designs to a larger company. Ruth started small and built Barbie into a global phenomenon.
I love it. So the business is custom representation products. Create dolls, art, books, or clothing that help people, especially kids, see themselves and their possibilities. Start with observation, trust your vision, and remember that representation matters.
And remember Ruth's lesson, what you create can shape how people see themselves. That's a responsibility and an opportunity.
Perfect. Okay, who's going to start a custom representation products business? Send us your creations. All right, everyone, that's episode 8 of season 2. We explored Ruth Handler's inspiring story, from watching her daughter play with paper dolls to creating Barbie and revolutionizing the toy industry.
Lesson: observe what people actually need. Trust your instinct even when experts doubt you. And remember that representation matters. What you create can shape how people see their potential.
And our kid business idea, custom representation products. Create dolls, art, books, or clothing that help people see themselves and imagine their possibilities.
Next week, we're talking about Stan Lee, the man who created Spider-Man, the X-Men, Iron Man, Black Panther, and basically built the Marvel Universe. His story about creativity, persistence, and believing in heroes is incredible.
I can't wait for that one. Thanks for being here, Lily.
Thanks, Tallie. We're getting close to the end of the season.
And thank you for listening. If you loved this episode, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave us a 5-star review and send us your business ideas. We love seeing what you create.
Because you can be anything. Dream big.
See you next time on Tallie Talks. Peace out.